Hi, everyone. Thanks for coming back, listening. Got a brand new show today. A bit of I don't know if it's a happy one or it's just one of those where we kind of, go through the motions again, like we have quite a few times this season. But welcome to the Liverpool Connection podcast. I'm Daz. I've got Julian with me tonight, and we're going to do the review show of the Liverpool, obviously, versus Brighton. And then we're going to do a little preview at the end for the Liverpool Rangers match coming up on Tuesday. But let's get back into this. You're not smiling. I'm not smiling. So obviously, it wasn't a very good day for Liverpool Football Club yet again. I'm getting a bit tired of having to do these and not be all smiley and happy-go-lucky. But, we still have to do them. We still have to have our say and kind of criticise where we need to criticise, not throw anybody, under the bus, because collectively it's a team sport, and the team itself is not playing well, is it, mate?
They are not. And the first 2 to 5 minutes looked good, and then it went down from there, and it's really hard. And everyone's got a lot of different opinions, of course, as they will have, and as they should have on this. It's really hard to put your finger on what is wrong, because as a collective, there's so many players that are not performing anywhere close to their best. You look through that side today, Virgil continues to be a centre-back that we don't recognise. This is not the Virgil that we've seen for the last few seasons, or at least since he's arrived at Liverpool. Trent, of course. Trent has not been the player that he has been previously. We can go into that a little bit further later. Fabinho, again, was lost in the middle. Looks like a player that is struggling. He's getting beaten a lot of the time as well. He's not been great on the ball. Even Thiago today, I thought first half was dreadful. Had one of his worst performances I've seen from him. But it seems like a collective. So there's a bigger problem than just individual performances. There's something else that's happening, because this has happened since the first game of the season against Fulham. We saw, and you didn't want to overreact to it. The first game of the season, sometimes that can be a game where you want to get the result, you want to get the win, but sometimes the performance isn't great. So I was willing to wait instead of jumping on the bandwagon by screaming about how bad we were. But that's been a precursor. That's been a performance that has continued right throughout the season, except for the 9-0, which was an anomaly that kind of came out of nowhere, right? But every other performance has been pretty dire.
Well, I think that's the thing. What we're hoping for is the Fulham game. We go, all right, it's like you said, first match of the season. We'll get it right the next game, and then the Palace game came along, and we didn't get it right, and then we go, all right, the next game we'll get it right, and we keep saying it and saying it. And Bournemouth are absolutely shite. There'll be lots of teams beating them. Maybe not 9-0, but 4-5-0. We got away with one at Newcastle. There's obviously a problem. We all see it, and I'm sure Klopp sees it as well. That's the thing. We're screaming at the telly, and we're all like, do something. And I'm sure. Did you hear his press conference after?
I did hear his press conference.
He pulled no punches. He goes on with, you get consistency with a top defending side, and we are not. We
are not. But But here's the thing, right? So at the beginning of the season, the problem was, all our midfielders were injured. Once they come back, we'll be great again, right? That was the concern, and it was a concern because we had so many midfielders out. Now they're all back, pretty much, but we're seeing exactly the same thing as what we saw in the first game of the season. I think, I mean, to me, yes, obviously there's an issue with the players, but this is a bigger issue. This is on Klopp and the coaching staff. This is far bigger than individuals not performing well. There's something else happening now, whether it's a tactical shift where to go back to Trent, and we saw it in the first half this season, and we've seen it in the majority of games this season as well, where he's definitely playing in a different position. He definitely has more freedom. He's certainly more inside and pushed forward, and that is causing a ripple effect throughout the entire team. If I was to put it on one thing, and this is not, and it is singling out Trent, but it's not him. I think he's being put out in a position, and he is getting blamed because he has made mistakes. He hasn't been great. He's looked awful at times. He's looked lazy at times. But I put some of this down to this tactical shift, which is very hard to put your finger on exactly what it is. But it's almost like he has a free role that starts at right back, but then he has this freedom to kind of drift into midfield. And we definitely saw it first half today. Second half, notably, was different. He was far. He had a far more stable position as a right back, and he was definitely wider. But he didn't play well second half as well. He got beat a couple of times, but there's a lot of issues going on at the moment, and it is very hard to put your finger on exactly what is causing this, apart from the one thing that stands out is the transposition is different.
Yeah,
I don't see anything else.
As a fan, again, we listened to the interviews, we watched the matches, we look at the stats and everything. Klopp knows what's wrong, but it just seems to be taking time to figure this out. Whether it's new players coming in, learning the system, that's why we don't see Nunez as much. And by the way, if you didn't know, Nunez did not start today because he did take a knock, and he was one of the last ones to come back from international. Same with Diaz and Jota. So, that's why they didn't start. And we might as well go to that as well.
That made sense. That made complete sense. Exactly. I fully expected they wouldn't start after one day, after a long flight and 1 day of training.
But were you surprised by Carvalho?
I was surprised that Carvalho started because, yes, he has been, when we have seen him, when he's come off the bench, he's looked good, right? He's come on late in games and he's added something different. I was surprised he started today because I don't think he's quite ready. I mean, he was obviously new to the club. He's young. He's learning the system. He's a different kind of player to how we set up in a 4-3-3. Carvalho that's not really his natural position. So that did surprise me. I get Diaz not starting because of the travel, etc. But still, at the same time, that did surprise me a little bit. Now, with Jota obviously having a knock, Diaz traveling, Nunez starting, then it was very difficult to say who else could fit in that position if those three couldn't start. And then you end up at the place that, that's why Carvalho started, because we didn't really have another option to start there. So.
And were you okay with the midfield three?
I mean, that's supposed to be our best midfield, right? I mean, that is supposed to be our best midfield. Now, obviously, we have not seen them as often as we would have liked, right, over the past couple of seasons due to injury, suspension, etc., things like that. But I mean, come on. I mean, Fabinho, Henderson, Thiago, I mean, they should be better than that Brighton midfield. They should know how to play together. They have the experience. They have the talent. But today, they were a complete mess. especially in the first half. It was like Henderson took up his usual position where he's on the he's on the left. He was actually over on the left today for a bit, and then Fabinho was tucked in, and then Thiago was kind of floating a little bit, but it felt like Henderson was too wide at times, and he was out of position. It was exposing Fabinho, especially in the midfield, but it just didn't. It looked like those three had never played together in their lives, which is
was
ridiculous.
Slow midfield. I mean, Hendo was pressing. I mean, he was, but Fabinho looked lethargic again, and Thiago was definitely not up to his up to what we have seen of him. There was definitely no football porn from Thiago today. It was pretty bad.
It reminded me of Jossie's Giants. Do you remember Jossie's Giants? On TV. It was like that. It was like a mess of a team put together. I watched that, and what was really disheartening is the right word. But before that game, I watched the Arsenal Spurs game, right? And Arsenal were very good for the 90 whatever minutes. But the first 15, 20 minutes, Arsenal were exceptional. Like their pressing, their movement, their players knew where their runs, where they were going to move into. They knew where the spaces were. It reminded me of us from late last season, or the season when we won the league. They were exceptional, and then we come on after, and it's like, just what is this? It's just like, it was a mess.
All you have to do is look at Xhaka. I mean, 2-3 seasons ago, the Arsenal fans were booing him. And remember when he, I don't know whether he flicked him off or he
got subbed off, didn't he? And he did the whole ear thing, which is never good.
And now look at him. Arteta's got him playing really, really well. And that was a well-taken goal by him today. It's, it does remind me, because they're a lot younger, their journey's just starting for Arsenal. I mean, are they the real deal? Who knows? A couple of defeats, they could cave in, which, hopefully it'll be next weekend.
It's hard to say, with Arsenal. And it is good talking about them, bringing them up, because we do play them next weekend. I mean, they've a massive month. I mean, they play us, they play City. I mean, you're going to learn a lot about Arsenal in October, but back to my point. It was just a world of difference watching that game and then watching us, and just how it's shocking how disorganized we look, how chaotic it looks at the back. I mean, Brighton could have been 4 or 5 up in the first half, like easy, like no question whatsoever. And then even in the second half, they had chances. They could have easily scored more. There was one where they're on the halfway line, and there was a through ball on. And if the pass was good, and it wasn't, then they would have been clear through on goal. But it was there's a lot that needs to happen. Alisson was brilliant today.
I mean, Welbeck should have scored with the head. But it's again, we just look lost at the back, and that is a worry for me, because you have the best defender in the world for the past 4 or 5 seasons, and he looks a shell of that. And Tsimikas didn't paint himself very well today either. I thought he was not very good.
He didn't play well. He didn't have I don't think he was the worst of the defenders. I think he was okay, but he wasn't great, right? You would expect more from him. He wasn't good. But if I look at the Brighton attacks, etc., they all came down Trent's side pretty much. They didn't really come down Tsimikas' side. They came down Trent's side, which it's hard because you can't really take Trent out of the team. I mean, you don't really, the only option is Milner because you feel like Trent maybe needs a little break out of the spotlight. Sometimes that's good. And we forget how young Trent is and how well and how brilliant he has been for us and what he has won. And he's been an integral part of this. And this is probably since his career with us, this is probably the first moment where he is truly under the spotlight, right? From all directions are having a go at him, right?
Do you
and
think
that's hard to deal with, isn't it?
Yeah. Do you actually think though, like, let's take the England part out, all the media. Do you think he'd be scrutinised without the England setup, without South saying what he said?
Well, he was getting scrutinised by our fans for this season. He has. I mean, there was the game. I try to put it out of my memory the Napoli game where I can take mistakes, right? I can take, things like that happened. But on the goal where he's just kind of standing still and just kind of wandering about, that I can't. That's a different story. But he has had questions against him from Liverpool fans this season. There's been a lot of focus on Trent, and then the England situation has just added to it, right? That's just now putting that into the stratosphere, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it gives opposing fans like more fire to just lay into him, And as we spoke off camera, the lad's still young and he's in the spotlight, and like you said, this is the first time where he's getting ripped to shred every which way, and that's got to be playing on his mind. I'm sure Klopp has, gone up to him and given him, an arm around the shoulder, but sometimes that's not enough.
I feel like the simplest solution at the moment, because his position is different, like 100%. And I feel like that needs to stop, right? We need to go to what we know, right? But I would have thought that this would have been done a few games ago because we've seen these issues, but we still saw it. We saw it in the first half. His position was kind of an inside right midfielder, but I think the glaring, obvious potential fix is to revert back to how the 4-3-3 for how we've been playing over the last few years successfully. That to me, and when you look at the various heat maps, etc., and all that good jazz, I mean, it shows it. It shows it towards the end of last season. We were doing it as well, and it's gone on into this season. So it's definitely a tactic, right? It's not freaking working. So hopefully, I think, because yes, Trent is getting all this flack, he's getting all this abuse, all the spotlights on him, but it's not just him. I mean, this is partly down to how we are set up, how he is being positioned, how we are playing tactically as well. He's being essentially set up for failure when it doesn't work. If it works, then brilliant. But if it doesn't work, it looks appalling, which is what is happening at the moment.
Yeah, and it looks like it doesn't matter what midfielder you put in front of him. At first I thought maybe it's Elliott kind of maybe getting in the way a little bit still.
Right.
And you put Henderson in front of him. That it's the same thing over and over again. And, Klopp said we're going to reinvent ourselves. I'm still waiting on that. What are we reinventing ourselves in? Because at the moment, it's...
Well, it goes into... It also... The Salah this season has been extremely wide as well. Like, more so than any other season. He's played as close to the touchline as he's ever done, which again is because of the Trent is playing inside. He's playing further inside, almost like I said, an inside right midfielder, which means Salah has gone over to the right. So it's also affecting, while Salah has actually been involved in a lot, right? Because he's so far wide, he's not getting the opportunities to score the goals as well. So it's all coming from this one positional change where it's pushing. Trent's gone inside, Salah's gone further wide, so you've lost the goals of Salah, right? And then when you're on the counter attack, you've lost Trent. You've essentially lost the right back, which means it's huge for the right side of centre back line, Matip. And I thought Matip was okay today. He was probably the best defender that we had on the pitch. But he has a lot of work when Trent's playing that position. Then Matip has to be he has to be ready and aware of what's going on. And he's a brilliant defender, Matip. But he was up against 2-3 Brighton midfielders running at him, and their left-sided player as well, like the entire game. It was, yes.
It looked more like we were the away team today, to be honest.
And let's give credit to Brighton. I mean, Brighton, the fourth, I didn't take for a reason. They were brilliant. They set up and they were fantastic.
What was your take on? Because Klopp said, and you know, you get on Twitter Kingdom, and they were like just bashing him for it. Klopp said he didn't know how Brighton were going to play or set up today. My take on that is because it's a brand new manager, so he's got nothing to go on. I think it was more like a little tongue in cheek.
Of course it was. Yeah, we've seen enough. Like,
but he's also saying, like, interviews. When teams play us, they seem to play differently than what they would against other teams, and I get that. You know, it's either a ball over the top, obviously, and you know, it all comes back to just being frustrated. I mean, when we got back to 2-2, I was so elated. I was like, we're doing this. It was just, you know, it's one of those feelings. You're just like, we're doing this. I mean,
I've got to be honest. There, I didn't think that today. I did not. When we got back into the game, I was not confident in the slightest, because we got back into the game. And yes, we were pressing, but it was still scrappy, but we were not in control of the game, and Brian was still cutting through us. I did not feel confident, even when it went to 2-2. I did not feel, even 3-2. I didn't think we were going to hang on to the lead. I didn't think so.
3-2 is always, or 2-1, you know, it's always iffy. Because Brighton just, I mean, they weren't going to give up, were they? I mean, at the end of the day, Brighton deserved a point because they played really, really well. I mean, they remind me of about 2-3 seasons ago, where in the first, I think, 10 games, Brighton were third or fourth and playing really well under Potter. And you know, maybe this was their first match under the Italian. You know, and the players are like, chests out, you know. I even saw Klopp doing that. Like after we scored the second goal, he's like chin up, get your chest out, and everything. And I did think we would get another goal, but then I also, in the back of my head, was thinking Brighton could as well. So fantastic match.
They were cutting us open.
It was too easy, wasn't it? It was way too easy.
They were. And the subs were, you know, going forward, we're going to go attack, etc., all that kind of stuff. But it was too. But back to the Klopp comment. Yes, I mean, it was definitely tongue in cheek. Probably because he loves to have a little dig about international breaks. You know, a little dig that they only had a day of full training as well. Because I guarantee you, in fact, I mean, it's a fact that we would have studied Brian. We've known how they were going to play. We would have known how they're going to set up. We would have had a team studying Brian for the past 2 weeks. There would have been tactical sessions, except all of that. Of course, this isn't freaking Jossie's Giants. This is not amateur hour. They were studying them. I think it was more Klopp just, you know, I think it was more of a dig at international breaks and stuff, because he loves to do that. So, yeah. But it was. I think Brighton, in a way, while they'll be happy to get the point because of how it happened, they'll be thinking over the coming days, they'll be disappointed not to get all 3 points and come away winning that game. when they look back on it, because they had so many opportunities that they deserved the 3 points, in my opinion. They were the better side, apart from a little period second half, but they were brilliant. Yeah, Brighton were exceptional today and fully deserving of where they are in the league. Whether they can keep it up, who knows? But
we're the opposite. We're fully deserving where we're at in the league.
Yeah, it's hard. We have a lot of different issues, and it's hard to understand what the fix is, apart from what I've said, apart from the Trent thing. But it's. I mean, do we miss Naby Keita in the midfield? And that's what it's come to at the moment. You know, does he add the balance like Naby Keita? Klopp loves him. He works a certain role in the position. I mean, I don't think he's been great for us, but he works for our midfield. I mean, that's how desperate it's getting. That's how bad we are, where it looks like we're missing Naby Keita. And we do. And he played, 33, 34 games last season. He was an integral part of that. I'm not saying he's lived up to his expectations. He hasn't, but it'll probably start. I reckon, we have Rangers coming up. So that's the next one to I hesitate to say look forward to. But what do you think, Rangers?
Again, on paper, we should be beating Rangers at home. They're coming to our gaff, so massive difference. I think if it was away,
different
hostile environment, I would definitely be a bit more nervous. But on paper, Rangers are shite again. But the way we're playing, though,
we're worse, aren't we?
Yeah. Are we gonna show up on Tuesday and blow them away? 4-5-0. You never know. Or are we gonna get a scrappy 1-0? Or are Rangers gonna have the game of their lives? You just don't know. So, but
I don't think we can do a scrappy 1-0. So I think that'll probably be out of the question. I think it'll either be we wallop them. Or it's like a really close, like a 3-2 or a 4-3 or something like that. Because we can't defend at the moment. And that's not a quick fix. I can't see that being fixed overnight. Who knows? I mean, I think today's team, though, gave us an idea of what the team's going to be for Rangers. I think we're going to see. I know a lot of people were upset or going mad because Smithcast came off and Milner came on. Well, that told me when that happened that Robertson is probably not going to be ready for Rangers. So we need the Greek fully ready. So that's why we took him off and put Milner on. So that made sense for me.
The man bun.
Yeah, the man bun. I like the Greek. I mean, he's a funny bloke, but he wasn't great today. But I think the team wise, I think it'll probably be the same back four. Midfield might change it up. I would expect Fabinho,
Elliott in there.
Fabinho, Thiago, and Elliott. Henderson seems to struggle with 2 games a week, and you want to kind of protect. So does Thiago. So does Fabinho, so does Virgil. I mean, they all struggle, don't they? They might struggle 1 game a week. And then Diaz is going to start, Salah's going to start, and then he's probably going to start Nunez. I would think maybe. I don't know, but
it's either Nunez or Jota. I don't think Bobby will start. I think, I mean, I'd like to see Nunez start. He
needs to get his Liverpool career up and running.
I mean, what was up with him? He was having a mad go at the ref. He was not happy. Like, I saw his face, and he's just like, I mean, obviously he wears his heart on his sleeve and stuff. And you want that. You want a bit of feistiness. You know, it's like a Suarez, 2.0. That
you do, as long as you can back it up, right? You want that feistiness. You've got to almost earn that feistiness as well, right? There's no point coming in being feisty and you don't have the crowd on your side yet, right? And you're not intimidating other teams. But it's extremely early days. His career really hasn't started. He's had, of course, he didn't start well in pre-season, which unfortunately gets a huge focus now. But that was a huge social media bollocks thing where he got abused for missing a few chances. And then he scored 4, so then everyone loves him again. Yeah. And then he scores against Fulham. Everyone's like, "Oh, that was a good finish." And then he gets sent off. And then he gets the international break. I haven't got a clue about Nunez at the moment. I mean, he doesn't look like a whatever 80 million, whatever we paid for him player. I can tell you that.
Honestly. Yeah. Well, I mean, judge him. Everybody should judge him at the end of the season. You can't call a player after 7, 8 matches who hasn't played for 3 of those being suspended a flop. You just can't. And people need to stop comparing him to Haaland. They're just different, different.
They are, but that's the world. That's where we live. They're going to be compared because they got signed at a similar time, right? They got signed for the 2 biggest teams in the country, right? Unfortunately, they're going to be. I mean, Haaland, after the Charity Shield, he got the abuse because he had a shocker, right? And Nunez didn't. It's just that's the way it is. Everything's very instant, and you're either a legend or you're the worst player in the world, and that's going to continue for both. At the moment, Haaland is deservedly so getting all the plaudits because he's breaking all of these records and he's scoring goals in every game and he looks sensational. And Nunez, unfortunately, is the polar opposite, and we're just waiting. So I hope he starts against Rangers because he needs to get his career started, and we need a focal point, right? And we need him to start playing well.
That goes back to the tactical thing with putting, Salah out wide. You would think that's the whole point of Nunez and Salah out wide, so Salah can help assist Nunez. But then when Nunez isn't playing, you need to bring Salah in more. It's one of those, but I hope he gets the nod, because he's a young lad as well. He needs confidence, he needs match time, and he's got it a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit here. So
it feels like, to a certain extent as well, the Trent position, which we are hammering home because it's blatantly true, the change in Trent's position, which means he's further in field, which means that Salah has gone far right, is set up because you're setting up that way because you now have a focal point. You have a number 9, right? And we're not going to change them tactics if Nunez isn't playing, right? We're going to drill these new tactics into the players, right? Because this is the new way that we're going to play. And it's not working at the moment, but it feels like it is set up in a particular way to make it so that Salah works and so that Nunez works. Because Nunez is not Firmino. Firmino is a completely different player. He's the person that will drop off from that position. He will track back. He's extremely creative. He's brilliant with his feet. He's able to bring other players into the game. Nunez isn't, he needs the ball over the top. He needs to be on the last line, the last defender, right? So it is a different way of playing, but it feels like we're playing that certain way even without Nunez there. And if that's why it's not working, when it does work, and if Nunez is playing well, then it's going to look, it's going to look how it should look, right? But we obviously haven't seen that because of his stop-start season at the moment. So hopefully he starts and we see why we paid this money for this fella, and we get a run going because we got Rangers, then we got Arsenal,
United,
which is huge.
City. No,
So and then Rangers again, then City.
Yeah, so it's just mental. They're coming thick and fast. But we'll be up against former Reds Ryan Kent, and if Ben Davies,
mysterious Ben Davies, what a career!
I know. Hey, at least he got to wear the Liverpool shirt. I mean, that's more than me and you and Glenn and Steve combined. So
good for him. Well done.
Yeah. Well done, Preston North.
Hope he got it signed as well. Yeah, I hope everyone signed that and he can frame it. So I kind of played for Liverpool. I trained at least.
Signed it himself.
Oh my god!
Just put it up. But up against them, and Rangers are second, 19 points in the Scottish League. And I was looking today, their top scorer, Antonio Mirko Kolak, 11 goals. Scotty Arfield with 4. So,
say that name one more time. What was their name?
Arfield.
What's his first name?
Scott.
Okay. Brilliant name. All right.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah,
Scotty
I like that.
Arfield. All right then.
Scotty Arfield up front. Yeah, I love it. For the Rangers, yeah.
But I mean, they shipped away seven goals in their first 2 Champions League matches. 3-0 against Napoli and then 4-0 against Ajax. So
we have big problems. If we don't beat Rangers, then we have serious problems.
If we don't beat Rangers at home, we're not getting out that group. I'd be surprised. I am pretty confident. I think we'll beat Rangers. I really do. I wasn't epically confident about today just because we notoriously never play well after international breaks anyway. And Brighton are playing well and they have a new manager. So I think we'll beat Rangers, and I'm fairly confident. But we'll see how I feel at 8 p.m. Tuesday. Yeah. Yeah, and I think we'll beat Rangers as well. And just get that confidence back. It
feels like a 4-1. There you go. We won't keep a clean sheet. 4-1. That's what I'm gonna go for.
You don't think you will?
Clean sheet after the moment? No. But we'll win. I think we'll win 4-1.
Yeah. You think maybe Canute might come back in?
No, I don't. Not this. He wasn't even on the bench today, was he? I don't think he was. Gomez was on there.
Phillips was. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't think. I think they'll wait. Canute will be on the bench, and then he'll slowly be phased in because he hasn't hardly had a pre-season, so he needs minutes as well. So no, I don't think so. I think we're going to see Matip and Virgil. As long as Matip stays fit, we'll probably see them for a while, and then we might see a change, maybe up. I doubt it for the Arsenal game or the City, but maybe the Forest. That might be the game in a few weeks where then you might see Canute or Canate, how you pronounce it, or Gomez, etc. But probably not till then.
The beast.
He was brilliant last season. We've missed it. He was him, and the way we were able to rotate him and Matip to keep Matip fit was a huge reason for how we were able to get so far deep into the season, to the Champions League final and FA Cup and League Cup, and get so close in the league as well. Like, we balanced that really well. So we miss him. Great defender. So
yeah, and any help we will gladly take. But not a very good day against Brighton. But it's one more point. The positives is I thought Diaz played really well when he came on.
Diaz was good. If you remember when we started doing this at the beginning of the season, he was the one player I was looking forward to seeing. So I wanted to see if he could make a difference, and he's probably been our best player this season, and he did make an impact today. Elliott played well when he came on as well. I thought he looked pretty good. But yeah, it was a bad day. It wasn't great. It was
Yeah.
pretty poor, but we look forward to the Rangers game, and hopefully we get a result. And then the big one against Arsenal now, which is crazy saying that, but yeah,
it is, and again, thick and fast these games. So if you do have a bad game, you're right into another match. You don't have really time to like think too much. You just got to go for it. So it is imperative to like beat Rangers on Tuesday, going into the Arsenal match. Because if we get a couple of wins on the bounce and beat Arsenal and then beat Rangers, then we have the City game. And if we get three wins on the bounce, confidence will be going up. I don't care if Rangers are shite. You still have to beat the team that's in front of you. So I've got I still some people throwing the towel in and all that. It's too early to throw the towel in. You just never know what's going to happen. I have every bit of faith that Klopp will turn it around, will sort out whatever's going on in the background, on the pitch. He'll sort it out and we'll come through this. No, I'm not saying we'll win the league or we'll win the Champions League. I'm just saying things will get better.
And it of course it is an odd season, not just for us but for everyone, with the World Cup stuck in the middle, and that's gonna challenge teams for how they cope with that. It's going to challenge Man City because they have so many players going to the World Cup, and we really don't. But essentially, you're getting a 4-week, actually probably longer break for the likes of Diaz and Salah, and even the ones that are going. Matip won't be going. The Greek won't be going. Trent's probably not going to go, right? And then the ones that will go, Thiago's probably not going to start. Fabinho's probably not going to start. Firmino's not going to start. So it's going to have that World Cup break is going to have a huge impact on this season. And as a team, you want to bloody make sure that you are in a spot where you are competing whatever you want to compete for before the World Cup, before everyone goes away. So that when everyone's back, you have something to challenge for. So
wise words, mate.
Wise words.
Yeah. The onwards and upwards, as I always say. But it's come to an end of another episode. I wish we could all smile and be laughing right now, but we're not. But we move on.
Carry on camping. That's what I'm going to do. That'll make you ever laugh.
Yeah,
get some Sid James and Fab Windsor, and then you'll have a good time.
Oh man, those movies are boss. Like, especially if you were like a 10-year-old and you're watching those movies, they're pretty saucy. So,
you're like, oh, I had the box set from Tesco's that I bought like 10 years ago. And it's treasure. I treasure a particular shelf. So
yeah, anybody needing a laugh, go check out the Carry On movies. Like, after today's match, you want a bit of a laugh, just stick it on and open a glass, bottle of wine, or crack open a bevy, and just have a laugh. Don't take life too serious. I mean, we all love this football team, but sometimes you just have to step back and just be like, I'm living, I'm breathing. They've given us so many amazing seasons in the last last 5 seasons have been pretty amazing. So, we'll see. Long way to go yet. Mate. But anyway, thank you everyone for listening. Please like and subscribe. We'll be doing a Rangers review show during the week, and then obviously the big match coming up, the Arsenal. We'll do an Arsenal preview. But until then, I appreciate you listening, and have a good one.
Cheers. Bye.